Este aqui é o estúdio de gravação, onde gravamos todas as vozes de Procurando Nemo.
Legal, mas como é que vocês fazem que todas as vozes falem peixes no filme?
Posso levar você para ver o lugar e aprender como se faz. Você quer?
Legal, claro.
Então vamos. O primeiro lugar que você vai conhecer é o departamento de história.
Tá tarde, a gente agendou a sala de projeção, tá todo mundo esperando.
Mas agora? Eu não sabia que era pra agora.
Oi, é aqui o departamento de história?
É aqui mesmo.
Andrew me disse que o filme começa com a história.
O diretor!
O diretor!
O que a gente vai fazer no ato 3 é que
não,
você viu um
o
peixe.
Andrew
esse
não
peixe
veio
também vira
comigo.
outro...
Ah. E aí, o que manda, garoto?
Eu quero saber como é que vocês fizeram o filme Procurando Nemo.
Claro, você veio ao lugar certo, o departamento de história. A gente vai dizer pra você. A gente começa fazendo um monte de desenhos que acaba aparecendo uma revista em quadrinhos gigante que conta a história do filme.
Aí a gente representa o que desenhou pra ver como funciona.
E depois a gente faz uma porção de mudanças. Colocamos mais desenhos, tiramos outros desenhos. E quando a gente chega numa parte bem difícil, a gente para pra pensar na história. Aí a gente descansa a cabeça na mesa por algumas horas.
Com os olhos fechados.
Esse é o segredo. Você tem que fechar os olhos se quiser que as boas ideias apareçam.
Eu adoro inventar histórias.
É mesmo?
Então quer saber de uma coisa?
Hora de descansar a cabeça!
Ai,
Oi, o que você faz?
eu crio os personagens em Procurando Nemo.
Legal, como você faz isso?
Eu olho um montão de peixes em aquários, no mar, nos livros e presto atenção nas formas da natureza. Tanta coisa legal! E aí eu começo a desenhar e fazer com que os personagens do filme comecem a aparecer.
Então, você só faz desenhar?
Bom, eu repito muitos desenhos. Eu já trabalho nisso há 3 anos.
Puxa, isso é 1/10 da sua vida fazendo só uma coisa.
Quer saber? Tem razão, eu nunca tinha pensado nisso.
O que é que vocês fazem?
Nós somos animadores.
Legal, Andrew me contou umas coisas legais sobre animação.
O que foi que você disse?
Andrew me contou umas coisas legais sobre animação.
Porco espinho tá chegando, pessoal! Porco espinho tá chegando!
Rápido, depressa, sai da frente!
Vai ser bom te mostrar como a gente anima. É, animação quer dizer dar vida aos personagens.
Você pode pensar que já que os peixes não têm pernas, é mais fácil de fazer animação. Mas na verdade são muito difíceis de animar.
Podemos dizer que os animadores são atores, só que atuamos pelo computador.
Peraí, olha, eu sou um ator. Quer dizer que não precisam mais de mim? Vou me trocar pelo computador?
Não é isso que a gente tá dizendo. Não foi isso que ele falou. Sabe, as vozes dos atores nos inspiram a fazer um filme tão incrível. Não. Ei, você quer um biscoito? Gosta de animação, não é?
Olha, eu fiz a Dory.
Eu tô fazendo um tubarão.
Muito legal.
Oi, o que vocês fazem?
A gente está trabalhando em luz e efeitos. Você quer ajudar?
Quero.
A gente começa fazendo o efeito da água, o balanço da água.
E aí a gente coloca partículas como sujeirinhas se mexendo na água. Depois a gente põe esse padrão de luz cáustico que parece dançar pelas coisas.
Por que não uso a refração verdadeira quando modulada pela superfície da água?
Não! Por que eu não pensei nisso?
47 minutos depois.
Não!
Tchau, pai!
Tchau, filho.
E esse é o final.
Gente, tá muito legal. Oi, Alexander.
Alexander, me desculpe, é que eu estava ocupado.
Tudo bem. Todo mundo foi tão legal, me explicou tudo. Eu nem acredito as coisas legais que eu vi.
Isso é ótimo. Olha, você vai adorar o DVD. Tem um documentário muito bacana mesmo, chamado Fazendo Nemo. Você vai adorar.
Vou sim.
Puxa, você aprendeu alguma coisa na sua visita?
Eu aprendi que por mais trabalho que você tenha, tem sempre tempo para brincadeiras.
Isso é ótimo. Brincadeiras? Quem tá brincando? Eu quero nomes!
We just want to make a good movie. We just want to make a movie that entertains us, that I would want to see, that doesn't exclude anybody.
Oh boy, this is gonna be good, I can tell.
Final.
I always believe in research. No matter what the subject matter is, you cannot do enough research because so much believability will come out of what's really there.
I went on numerous field trips and research trips.
Going to the museums to actually take fish out of the bottles and have a look at them close up.
I went to every single person early on in the film and said, you have to get certified scuba diving, you have to go underwater. We cannot make a movie about the underwater world without you experiencing it firsthand.
The design of the coral reef has been really interesting because we had all taken scuba lessons and gone and looked at the coral reef. It was spectacular. Just experiencing the reality of a world like that has an enormous psychological impact and an impact inevitably on the work you begin to create.
People came back just with these eyes like, it was amazing! You know, I said, I told you!
Well, one of the first things I did was I got together with the R&D group and we looked at images of things underwater and we thought, what is it that makes you believe that it's underwater?
We put together our simplest version of an underwater set, almost like My First Ocean, and tried to make that look like it was underwater. Our first test appeared to be either a chlorinated swimming pool or a very foggy day on a heath somewhere in Scotland. We didn't get ocean water.
Each of these individual aspects of being underwater looked great, but we couldn't get them all to work in concert together. And I just picked a couple shots of things above water and things below water from real footage, and I said, okay, using exactly the tools that we have created and nothing else, I want you to see how close you can mimic these actual shots. And they came back a couple weeks later, and they put the two images up, the actual live-action footage and then our footage, and I couldn't tell which one was which. We were shocked. I mean, we were elated because it's like, oh my gosh, we did it. I mean, it looks like water. Then we had to sort of pull back and go, wait a minute, it looks too real. We want you to believe that it exists, but we want you to also kind of feel that you're in a make-believe world.
We just push on the story as hard as we can, and we try and buy ourselves as much time as possible to work out every aspect of the story.
It's really important for us sort of at the head of this big pipeline before it gets down to layout and animation and lighting to work this thing out right. And that includes pacing of a film, that includes the emotion, making sure that people are feeling things as the movie progresses.
And on Nemo, Andrew thought he had the magic bullet because he wrote the screenplay himself and had a complete screenplay going into this, which we don't always do. We thought that this whole process was going to be much smoother sailing. But the reality is once you put these movies up in storyboard form, a lot of things come to light that aren't clear when you're just reading words on a printed page.
The thing that finally makes it on the screen is all about rewrite, 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 rewrite.
Is that funny enough? Make it funnier. Okay.
And a good portion of the rewrite process is not done by the screenwriter, you know, at a word processor or a typewriter. It's the story department. It's the guys that sit in a room with you for close to 2 years, batting out ideas, countering your ideas, drawing up story panels, putting them up on a wall, pitching things, putting things on a reel down in editorial. It's a very malleable, messy, glorious process.
Sometimes it's about doing things over and over and over and over again. And even though I've done this a lot of times, it never fails to bring me to that point wherein, oh boy, I don't want to do that sequence one more time.
When it works, it's amazing. The power of what you can do with a group of great minds. But it can also be very, very frustrating because there's not a singular mind at times.
Can you help me?
No. You get yourself in there, you can get yourself out.
When it really got dark and we didn't know what to do, Andrew Stan and I would jump in a car and we'd drive to LA. You know, instead of flying down to go down and record Ellen DeGeneres or Albert Brooks, we drive 6 hours. But what that would force us to do is to just talk it out with no other distractions. And we worked a lot of good stuff out that way. And when I watch the film now, I can remember where we were on I-5 when this idea was brought forward. In fact, the Nemo initiation sequence was written on one of these trips.
Shark bait. Shark bait! Ooh ha ha! Welcome, brother Shark bait! Shark bait! Ooh ha ha!
We cut the boards together with dialogue, temp music, temp sound effects. It's very important that the experience of viewing the story reels for the audience is going to approximate the experience of viewing the finished film.
Just one point! Good, hey!
We spent a lot of time, we spent years, in fact, honing this story reel to try to create the best, most solid, entertaining template for the movie.
Good, hey!
What we decided to do was to establish a range of underwater color to track the characters through the film. So with the reef, we start with crystal clear, kind of very light greenish turquoise. And as the film progresses, it gets darker green turquoise, and then black, and then blue. And then as we get closer to Sydney Harbor, it becomes greener. The pastels are used to kind of outline the color and the mood and the lighting for the entire film. Here's this morning in Pelicans. I start off again with a big broad stroke color palette. We try and figure out time of day and mood for the film. And then as we move forward and things are getting finalized in story, I go back in and, just visit key shots in a scene to kind of provide a direction for lighting.
He'll put out the inspiration for what the scene should feel like and how it fits into the whole.
We'll scan them in, and then she'll take them and she'll balance the colors a little bit.
And he'll see it later and he's like, wow, that looks as good as I was hoping it would look, which just, of course, makes me feel like $1 million.
It was by trying to make a shot appear to be like you see when you scuba dive and you're underwater that we came up with a whole bunch of elements that were critical to making a shot feel like it was underwater, which include how it surges and swells back and forth, the particulate matter in the water itself, murk being the fall off of color that water filters differently than air, the caustic lights, which is the light play from the surface that you see in the bottom of a swimming pool, the beams those things go through because water is so much denser than air, you can see the light shafts themselves. Okay, now how is it different being in a reef than being in deep ocean water than being murky in a harbor? Oh, okay. So now you have to find different settings for all those various things again and set the levels again. So you get, harbor water and sewage water and clear open blue ocean water, murky ocean water, bright sunny reef water that's shallow at night and at day and at dawn and dusk.
If you look at fish, it's amazing how little we did have to caricature them, because they're so wild in their shapes and forms.
They took a lot of scientific input. But there are some things you just have to do in order to act that fish don't do.
Real fish have the eyes on the side of the head. They don't have eyelids, and they don't blink, and they don't talk. So how do you design a fish that is able to talk and emote and everything that the animators are going to want to put in there? We looked at how dogs emote. The subtle movements of their eyebrows is enough to emote like sadness or happiness.
Neutral.
Excited.
Angry. Stern.
Sad. And it's the same thing with these fish designs. We put enough eyebrow mass in there to really get the nuances of emotion. So I basically now have to flesh that design out start figuring out the details about the fins and the gills and the mouth and the teeth, and turn her around, draw her from so many different angles. So as I'm developing that character, there are some designs that Andrew really likes, Andrew and Ralph really like, and then they give it to Jerome, Ralph, the sculptor here.
We're generating these sculptures to pre-visualize character design. We knock these out in clay, just like this, and we do it as fast as we can so we can get as many changes from the director and the art director, as many as we need.
That's really when the magic happens. Starting to see that 2D drawing come alive in 3D, and it's like I get all this amazing information from it. I start seeing it in a new way. I start turning it around. I look at it from the top and the bottom, because you never know if that's the way they're going to be seen in the movie.
Once the sculpt's done and we get approvals, then it goes on to the modelers, and then they actually start building them in the computer using our clay sculpts as a reference.
Then we would have animators come in and help us figure that stuff out too. So the process is incredible. It's so collaborative.
Sharkbait, you did it!
Yes, Sharkbait, you're covered with germs!
The shader and texture art director is responsible for taking those models, both sets and characters, and giving them life in terms of the scales or textures on the surface of these characters.
Tropical fish die a lot, unfortunately, and so they always have a good supply at fish stores of dead fish. So then we'd take them and we'd slap it on the scanner and we'd hold it up to the light and see what it looked like, and start identifying what the important characteristics are of that fish. What color they are, what kind of texture they are, how they respond to light when lit. So like whether they're shiny or smooth, whether they're velvety or translucent.
So you do like it, don't you?
No. I do. I really do like it.
We had, I think, this bag of tricks as animators for bipedal characters. We'd all carried around with us, even ever since Toy Story 1. It wasn't until we had done the first few tests that we had realized that it's a completely different language. I think for most animators, it takes a good month or two of pretty intense stuff to really get into understanding what makes a fish feel like a fish and adapting their old bag of tricks to the new bag of tricks. One thing I always equate it to is animating fish is like animating toilet paper underwater, but like muscular toilet paper. It's so loose and smooth everywhere, but then muscularly driven that's a hard thing to do.
One of the first lectures I gave was on how fish move, and I was sort of amazed to get called back just 2 days later to sort of look over some of the things that they had dummied up based on my lecture. And this fellow was showing me how the fish moved and everything. I said, they can't move their pectoral fins like that. That won't look right. A fish can't just sort of do that. He said, you know, Adam, fish don't talk.
It takes a tremendous amount of effort to create something that looks effortless.
You're pushing the envelope, you're stressing your production plan out as much as you can to bang on the story and get the lines just right and get it edited just right.
Crunch time is almost literal, It's like you have so much that comes right at the end because you've taken so much time to plus the story.
I think when things get really tough around here and when you start to feel the stress build up, that tends to be when we kind of explode as a group and people just go crazy. We tend to kind of just blow off steam or whatever.
What happened when we moved to this big building is you don't see the people that you used to see all the time. And I think that a lot of us were missing each other and missing that collaboration. It's called the Ugly Contest.
Basically, all of the men have grown mustaches. The women have put eyeshadow on from their eyelids all the way up to their eyebrow, like obnoxious colors. When they're in the building, they have to have it on. When they're outside the building, they can take it off. So I think they actually get away maybe a little lighter because this thing doesn't come off.
I started adding more makeup, and eventually I had the complete face, and then I decided that I'd start to wear different outfits. As the contest went on, people were going out and checking each other out more often, and we did get around to each other's offices and chat and look at each other's work and get feedback and just had fun.
Your hair grows so fast.
I know.
I push my belly button and pull.
Woo! That was fun!
On the production, we have what are called shot briefings for the animators. And to be honest, all that is a fancy word for what all directors do with actors. You may be talking about what your character's motivation is, or simply, you need to be swimming here, and you suddenly have to be at this point in the frame by the shot's over. Whatever the actor needs to make the scene work.
I remember it. I do. It's there. I know it is because when I look at you, I can feel it. And I look at you and I'm home.
I can say to you, she realizes she doesn't want to be lonely anymore. I don't think she's that articulate, and she understands even that clearly. But I think she's felt it. She just hasn't formed it, right? So it's like forming as she's saying it, right? So she's like, if you leave, you know, it's like basically I will be lonely. But she doesn't even know that yet. She's just like it's going to be bad, right?
There's definitely acting that comes from the voice talent, but it's really people's ability to get inside of that character. You have to know all about it in order to bring a character to life. Otherwise, the character's not alive, it's just moving.
I locked the door, I closed the door, and I put up some pictures of different people or things in my life that were important to me that are gone now, and kind of put myself in that moment for a while, and it was a depressing day. But, and then after a while, after I was really kind of in the moment, I looped the dialogue and I kind of went with it, and then I turned on my little computer camera here.
And I look at you and I'm home.
So working from that has been a great help, and hopefully, since it's coming from a sincere place in me, when it's coming out of Dory in the film, it'll feel like it's coming from a sincere place from her as well.
It's almost like when you show your shot, you're naked and you can't hide behind anything.
So yeah, I haven't shown it to Andrew yet.
It's there. I know it is because when I look at you, I can feel it. And I look at you and I'm home.
She comes across more collected than I think we want her to come across as. My initial response is that you have to have a little more jerky left and right on top of your stuff at the beginning. Some hint, some tell that it's all falling through her fingers right there as she's talking.
There's a lot of this back and forth that happens and this super fine tuning so that you get a really appealing character, and they always feel organic and they never feel computery.
It feels like he's locked in space, hanging from a hook right here. Did you try stretching his neck? Just like a half-beat pause. Oh, you know, like that. If you just swam. Oh, scoot, 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 you know? You know?
Just like, yeah. If we've done our job, you never sense the technology that's behind it. You just get the art out of it, and you get the entertainment out of it.
I remember it. I do. It's there. I know it is because when I look at you, I can feel it. And I look at you and I'm home.
Final! 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 Final!
Yeah.
I think that the interior of the whale scene is a good example of just an enormously challenging sequence from all avenues. We're inside a whale mouth, most of the time underwater, and the whole whale is underwater, and it's at night. So where does the light come from? You have to invent something that looks believable, shows the action, makes the characters look appealing.
It makes it really hard on lighting to have two main characters, one that's blue and one that's orange, in a blue environment, because you want the orange one not to go black because, you know, you're hitting it with blue light.
There was some concern about Dory disappearing, considering that we're in a lot of blue in this film, and turquoise and things. But that just goes to show you how terrific the lighting staff is here.
Yeah, we're a little hot. So what color is your sunlight? That really super deep, dark blue. Get a good shadow of squirt on the father when he's doing the head nod. Some of this might be in shadow from the cabin.
Yeah.
I'd say the most challenging part of my job is usually we have a lighting crew that's 30 to 40 people, and we're all trying to make the same movie. We're all trying to make shots that look like they could have all been lit by the same person.
It looks awesome. Final.
Graham said, we got to film about water. And, oh, what kind of water? Is there splashing water? Is there pouring water? Are we underwater? Are we above water? Oh, actually, we're all those things. Oh.
Here you just need a sim of the water being affected by this boat rock. This is the big kickback splash.
Yeah. The producer half of my brain looks at a schedule and goes, I cannot splash water in 800 shots. I cannot afford to do this. Okay, the director half of my brain says, we're going to splash water in 1,200 shots. Every shot needs a splash because we're in water. Okay, both are not really true, so where's the middle ground? If you do it right, you get a couple shots you spend a lot of money on that look just, they're so cool. You just melt. They're amazing. And the water does everything. It's completely real. We totally controlled it. And you feel like a rock star. There are a couple shots you do about half that in, and a couple shots you don't do very much in at all. And if you pick just the right ones to spend your money there, as an audience member, you watch it and you believe the whole thing.
Almost 3.5 years. That's a long time to work on something and still not know whether or not it works. I mean, I thought it worked, and I thought it worked the first year that I worked on it.
It's like you never really know until you see it with that preview audience, especially when you've seen it so many times.
2 years later, after a lot of dead ends or wrong turns and changes, you just get sort of beaten down.
About the 20th time, you're not laughing at that joke anymore, and you forget that that joke's funny.
I was in a very vulnerable state, and I think the whole production was. We just didn't know what we had. So when those lights went down, my stomach was just churning, and I was practically hiding my face because I didn't know. Not only did the screening go well, they were the best 2 screenings we've ever had in Pixar's history. It was amazing. I found myself realizing that I had pretty much followed Father's journey and gotten to the point where I was just seeing everything half empty. And that was my moment of seeing things half full, for this picture.
The time we'd taken to get the story right really paid off. It was really resonating with the audience, and of course, it was also the shot in the arm we needed to come back home and go, all right, let's crank this thing out, let's go.
Take an audience to a place you want it to go and they get there, that's just unbelievably satisfying, because that means that all the stuff you spent doing for years and years and years actually worked.
It's been a long, tough road, but we've all been there before, and we know that it's worth it. It's worth all the hard work.
I've always known, even in the darkest days of the making of this movie was going to be stunning. And it is.
Once the dust settled, I feel like, wow, Now, this movie isn't exactly what it was when I planned it, but when I watch it, it's exactly what I wanted to feel like.
Dad, you can let go now.
Sorry. Now go have an adventure.
Bye, Elmo.
Nemo.
Nemo. Bye, Nemo.
See you after school, Dory. Bye, Dad.
Bye, son.
Hi, my name is Ralph Eggleston, and I'm the production designer on Finding Nemo. My role was to work with a team of artists to provide a visual style for the film with the backgrounds and the characters.
Hello, my name is Ricky Nyerva, and I am the character art director for Finding Nemo. My job was to make the characters look fantastic.
Hi, my name is Robin Cooper, and I was the shading art director on Finding Nemo. And my job is to make Ricky's characters look even better by addressing the surface qualities of those wonderful characters, and also the surface qualities of all other items in the film.
We're gonna sit back and look at some artwork from the pre-production of Finding Nemo. What's really fun about it is everybody has a different take on the same subject, and it's just great to kind of inspire people, especially the director, so that he can begin making decisions on what he really wants. What we're going to be looking at first is what we call the prologue, and it's the opening of the film, and it kind of sets up Father's dilemma. He's there with Mother, and they're looking at the eggs right before a barracuda attacks.
This is an image of the barracuda, and if you look closely, you can see Mother's tail hanging out of his mouth. And Andrew Stanton, the director of Finding Nemo, wanted us to go more of a kind of like a bullet train design for him, just speed.
This is a painting actually trying to design or define what kind of metallic highlight we'd have on the barracuda itself, and what kind of the shape of the scales and the shape of the chevrons and that sort of thing.
This was a piece that just helped us define the kind of fanciful nature of the world of the reef. And the coral reef is so beautiful, but there's so much there. We had to find a way of organizing it and simplifying it and paring it down and choosing. This was a piece that was done exploring the translucency, or what we call transblurency, of the anemone tendrils.
And just how translucent we'd want it to be. We wanted it to seem inviting and not like he's living in a bunch of water balloons.
This is a development piece of Father, Mother, and Nemo, and this is very, very, very early on, even before Nemo has his lucky fin.
It's his father looking out on the world, something he doesn't really enjoy much of anymore because of what happened to him in the past.
This is one of my favorite pre-production.
The beauty of all these images is that the light is just so incredible. This is a great pastel of Pearl.
Flapjack octopus.
Flapjack octopus.
In her actual flapjack octopus color, which of course she didn't turn out to be.
Oh, they have some pink
more of
ones.
a pink.
They have pink ones.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Ours does. Here's a great picture of early Dory capturing her nuttiness in this piece.
Her wacky nature.
Wackiness. This one piece, Andrew knew that this was our character, Dory.
One of the cool things about the character is the eyes, and I don't know if it's this drawing so much as it is about the eyes and the depth that I was able to get in the eyes that are really based on Ellen DeGeneres' face and her eyes. She's got such beautiful blue eyes and such deep shadows in her eyes. Bruce Chum and Anchor, the three sharks in our film.
Yep. And Andrew and Ralph really wanted to go for a scary, scary look. He just kept giving us the direction of just go scary as possible.
This scene was always in the movie, although they were playing volleyball with the mines originally. This drawing kind of set the tone for this entire scene, the entire sequence in the film, in terms of the set.
And this is a painting for what a mine might look like, and also for a suggestion of what the moss hanging from the mine might look like.
Oh, there's so many details about this piece. It's incredible. You can even see the welding.
This is a painting exploring the wall of the abyss wall, which is what the submarine is hanging out over. This is part of the anglerfish sequence, where anglerfish are these fish that have these little lures over their head that kind of lure fish to them.
There's so many different types of anglerfishes out there too. They run the gamut of having smaller eyes to larger eyes, and the artists would do different iterations of that to try to find our character for the film.
And also there's a lot of machinery on this thing, like, you know, the glowing light and the lure and the runway lights and the teeth. Pearlescent eyes and the teeth that have to be see-through, and there's a lot going on that character.
Now we get into the tank. This is the first scene that was put into production in the tank, and it was called Initiation. It's where there are other characters that have been in the tank already are kind of bringing Nemo into their gang. The dramatic coloring, the orange color of the volcano really did kick back some of the colors on the characters. Works for this scene, but we did have to keep reminding ourselves that you will see them in regular lighting. You know, they're not always going to look like
We can't change them so that they look good just in that scene.
This helped us establish the Vegas-style lighting that we wanted in the tank.
And color. There's lots of color there.
Lots of pretty images. That was one of the funny things, is that we wanted the entire world of the dentist office to seem antiseptic and drab, except for the tank.
You know, everyone remembers the toy chest after you get your examination from the dentist, and you know, we just try to get all those little details in there.
If you look closely in the movie, you can see a Buzz Lightyear hanging out there. This is Gil. The essence of the character was story-driven and character-driven. We knew the voice was Willem Dafoe. It really helped us nail it.
One of the hardest things about Gil was trying to make that long dorsal fin look really beautiful.
The drawing exploring a character named Peach. Jacques is a snail.
Escargot.
Escargot.
The final design of Jacques, he really captured that kind of quirky French attitude in a little cleaner shrimp.
The antiseptic nature of the exam room in the dentist office. Also the waiting room. In both cases, we wanted to keep the waiting room warm and friendly, and then the exam room very antiseptic, just like a dentist office might be. What we call the trench.
A little squishy.
The entire jellyfish scene is one of the earliest put into production, but one of the longest in production. It's about 8 months worth of work between the design and the camera work and the layout and the crowds. I think in a few shots there's 6,000 jellyfish.
This really captured the glow, the pink glow that these deadly creatures
Yeah, Andrew wanted it to look like a wedding tent.
The idea here has always been for Andrew that it's this very beautiful, diaphanous looking thing that's deadly.
Oh, this is a beautiful piece of all the different pelican variants, and great job of making them all look different, have different personalities.
This is Gerald, Nigel's best friend. Supposed to be a little bit fatter and a little bit more scruffy. Originally wanted a 6-pack of plastic.
On his leg.
On his leg. And
That's
this
right.
is Nigel, early piece. A little bit dirtier of Doc's, a little bit more older and traditional. We ended up going with something else slightly more modern. There was an entire scene in the movie where Nemo was going down the toilet and through the sewage treatment plant as the water was being cleaned and then dispersed into the ocean. This scene got cut very, very far back. These are some sequence pastels showing the lighting and color for the water at the outflow pipe. This crab is being fed to the seagulls by Dory. The fishing net, and very WPA style. What we tried to do with the lighting and the color here is tone everything really far down because we like the black and white effect. Although we didn't want to go completely black and white, we're striving to achieve a feeling of black and white without entirely going black and white. We were able to make the world be very high contrast and dark, with darks and lights without a lot of color, so that Father, Nemo, and Dory really pop out from this crowd of fish and all of the activity going on here. So this is just a selection of artwork from a lot more that was done. It kind of provided the director with a vision of the style of the film. This was really just a starting place, and the film grew from here.
So if you'd like to see more of the artwork
that was done for Nemo,
you can go to the galleries and poke around on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you guys for all your help.
Thanks, Ralph. Oh, and I've loved working with you guys on this film, and I just wanted to say thank you very much.
So here's that $20 then.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to my trailer.
Ok, legal. Seguinte. É que seria melhor se daqui em diante eu pudesse ficar sem mais ninguém. Entendeu? Sozinho. Sem... Bom, não sem você, mas já pode continuar o seu caminho sem mim.
Eu sou o Nemo. Eu vim lá lá do mar. Numa manemonema, menonema,
É que eu sofro de perda de memória recente. É de família. Quer dizer, pelo menos eu acho que é. Cadê eles? Oi, pois não?
Eu sou um mala sem alça. Eu sou alérgico a H2O. Atchi! Olha esse tentáculo. É mais curto do que os outros tentáculos, mas quase não dá pra notar. Principalmente quando balanço assim.
Oi, meu nome é Bruce. Então o que acham de vir comigo numa reunião que vai ser bem bacana?
Ah, já era hora, compadre. Quase que a gente entra num frenesi. Não esquece, os peixes são amigos.
A gente já comeu uns belisquetes e eu ainda tô cheio de fome.
Valeu, compadre. Esse é meu camarada.
Mandou bem! Agora virem essas nadadeiras pro outro lado e nadem em frente pra Sydney! Aí, vai na paz!
Eu sou da CLA, irmão! Uau! Foi tão legal! Ô pai, você viu só? Você olhou pra mim? Você viu o que eu fiz?
A gente vai tirar ele daqui. Ele vai conseguir escapar. Vamos todos escapar. Vai lá, vai ser moleza.
Você tá cheio de germes! Ah!
A boca humana é uma coisa nojenta.
Bolhas! Bolhas, bolinhas e bolhões! Olha as bolhas, minhas bolhas! Minhas bolhas.
Suivez-moi. Siga-me. La mer! Bom?
Oi, aí, como é que vai? Bebê, se precisar de alguma coisa, é só falar com a tia Debs ou eu. Ou se eu não estiver aqui, pode falar com a minha irmã, a Flor. Não escuta minha irmã, não. Ela é doida.
Outra vez? Me ajudem, por favor. Ainda tô subindo. Alguém me ajude. Qualquer um. Pega uma nadadeira. Olha o que você fez. Alguém... Puxa... Calminha, garoto. Não precisa se preocupar, não. Eu sou da loja O Peixe Feliz.
Um estrangeiro. E da minha área, hein? Desculpe se já tentei te devorar. Peixe tem que nadar, ave tem que comer.
Agora deixa eu ver essas pérolazinhas.
O quê? Pois é um jeito novo de extrair dente.
É, ainda bem que eu extraí o dente certo, né, primeiro-ministro?
São uma barracuda. Elas são ferozes. Ganhei um peixinho, peixinho, peixinho.
A ligação entre o peixe-palhaço e sua casa anêmona é tão impressionante quanto a ligação entre a Zoochantelai e a Tridacna gigante. Não dá pra imaginar uma sem a outra. Sabe, o peixe-palhaço pode viver no meio dos tentáculos venenosos da anêmona porque o corpo dele é coberto por um muco protetor. Muco! Eca! Por isso, não é uma boa ideia apertar a nadadeira de um peixe-palhaço. Paracânturos e patos são criaturinhas deliciosas. Incomum no mar, esses peixes são vegetarianos. Como uma vaca, eles digerem a matéria vegetal fermentando-a na barriga. Também como uma vaca, o corpo deles esconde espinhos afiados que eles usam para se defender de predadores comuns. O quê? O que foi? Desde quando? Acabaram de me informar que as vacas não têm espinhos afiados escondidos no corpo. Então, vamos em frente. Puxa, desse assunto eu entendo um pouco. Com cérebros extraordinariamente grandes, as arraias são uma das criaturas mais inteligentes do Recife, sem falsa modéstia. Apesar de serem graciosas e majestosas, as arraias não são velozes, mas podemos nos cobrir de areia como um inteligente mecanismo de defesa. Lembre-se, é mais difícil ser pego quando seu predador não está vendo. Como somos seres crepusculares, nossas atividades são na pouca luz do amanhecer ou do anoitecer. A escuridão não é problema para as arraias, porque nós sentimos as coisas eletricamente. Na verdade, estou sentindo o seu DVD agorinha! Apesar das pessoas acharem que os grandes tubarões brancos são assassinos brutais de sangue frio, o Cacharodon Cacharias é, na verdade, um assassino brutal de sangue quente. Esses poderosos nadadores podem caçar na água fria porque eles mantêm sua própria temperatura. Surpreendentemente para um predador tão grande, eles podem até se lançar para fora d'água para pegar uma presa que não está no mar. Não é o máximo! Ninguém está seguro, nem na terra, nem no mar. Ninguém está seguro. Se alguém precisar de mim, eu vou estar ali enterrado na areia, tá? Tchau! Depois de nadar muitos quilômetros, as mamães tartarugas andam até a praia para botar os ovos e voltam para o mar depois de enterrarem os ovos na areia. Quando os filhotes nascem, esses diminutos seres são a pura definição da autoconfiança. Um instinto impressionante os leva até o mar, onde eles nadam para dentro do oceano procurando a mãe para perguntar: "Aí, por que é que você deixou a gente lá enterrado na areia, hein? Você ia voltar para dar uma olhada na gente?" É nessa hora que a mamãe tartaruga manda o filhote para o quarto de castigo. E isso, meninos e meninas, é uma pequena amostra do porquê a senhora Raia e eu nunca tivemos filhos. O espetacular Zanclus cornutus é um peixe inconfundível, com suas cores fortes, seu nariz protuberante e uma nadadeira dorsal aumentada por uma grande extensão filamentosa. Digam comigo, crianças, extensão filamentosa. O nome do gênero Zanclus vem do grego e significa foice, por causa da nadadeira dorsal em forma de foice. Puxa, os nomes de peixe não são engraçados? Até o nome do estudo dos peixes é engraçado. Ictiologia. Ictiologia. Adorei essa. A estrela do mar pode parecer estar parada e sem vida, mas ela é uma das criaturas mais dinâmicas e emocionantes do mar. Essas maravilhas vivas se mexem de maneiras impressionantes. Mas o segredo é ser paciente. Confie no tio Raia. Quando ela se mexe, vale a espera. Vamos ver. Um pouquinho e... Tá bom, nada ainda. Lembrem-se, paciência. Cada movimento é como uma joia a ser estudada. Espere, será que será? Não, nada. Ah, tá brincando? Essa coisa tá mesmo viva? Dá pra alguém cutucar ela? É o mesmo que ver uma alga crescer? Ah, esquece. Já chega de estrela do mar. Eu não aguento mais isso. O Diodon holocanthus até que é bonitinho, mas também é um dos mais venenosos peixes do mar. Também é conhecido como baiacu e quando ele é ameaçado, infla para parecer mais poderoso. Para conseguir essa forma impressionante, ele enche o corpo de água para esticar a pele. Isso faz com que apareçam os espinhos afiados. Assim, os predadores não podem engoli-lo. Infelizmente, depois que o baiacu infla, ele fica à mercê de outras criaturas, principalmente o peixe adolescente, que o usa como bola de vôlei ou como balão em desfiles. O grama-loreto se alimenta de plâncton e de pequenos crustáceos. Tem a impressionante capacidade de nadar de cabeça para baixo com facilidade. Apesar de ser colorido e atraente, o grama real é tímido e reservado. Que segredos guarda esse diminuto nadador? O que um peixe saberia para o tornar tão reservado? Será que tem alguma coisa que a gente não saiba que deveria saber? Ei, amiguinho, conta o segredo pra gente. Por que você não me conta, seu grama real impenetrável, cheio de segredinhos? Eu juro que um dia eu descubro seu segredo. Escute o que eu digo. O nome vulgar do Lismata amboinensis é camarão limpador. Isso descreve bem o impressionante papel dessas criaturinhas. O camarão limpador se prende a outras criaturas e cata os parasitas. Isso dá alimento ao camarão e mantém saudáveis os outros habitantes do mar. Comendo tão rápido, parece que o camarão está batendo no próprio peito. Mas recentemente os cientistas determinaram que esse ato de bater no peito é a forma que ele tem de pedir a conta depois da refeição. O hipocampus cuda, também conhecido como cavalo marinho, segura, peão! É um dos mais curiosos projetos da natureza. Essas criaturinhas lindas, mas tímidas, possuem o corpo coberto por placas ósseas que servem de armadura e têm um método de propulsor peculiar. A nadadeira dorsal ondula, agindo como uma pequena hélice. A gente devia chamar eles de helicópteros cuda. Entendeu? Helicóptero. Quer dizer, ele é um helicóptero. Tá bom, chega. Zebrassoma flavescens são herbívoros e comem todo tipo de plantas. Seu nariz pontudo evoluiu para executar a tarefa especializada de catar algas que crescem em pedras. A boca e a pele em volta dela endureceu para aguentar o impacto com a superfície dura do Recife. Esse nariz modificado pode ser ótimo para achar comida, mas fica quase impossível para eles usarem óculos. Ah, esse lindo peixinho preto e branco é também conhecido como peixe-zebra. Com suas notáveis listras pretas e brancas, alguns até podem querer chamá-lo de listradinho, ou de persiana, ou de cerca de pau em frente do carvão, ou de peixe-teclado, ou de peixe-código de barras, ou de peixe-pão branco, pão preto, pão branco, pão preto, pão branco, pão preto. Mas pra mim, este fascinante flipperzinho será sempre conhecido como Frankie.